cool. Thank you so much for joining us, Thomas, on Beyond Giving, the best nonprofit podcast on the Boost Network, sponsored by Nonprofits HQ. I'm super excited to dig into Zeo Infinite Robotics, learn kind of about your background, what it is that you're working on, and that sort of thing.
Thank you for having me, man.
So let's kind of just start with an introduction, Thomas. Who are you, and how did your path lead to this organization?
Oh, man. Who am I? So my name is Thomas James. I was born here in San Antonio, but I was raised in a little small town called Beaufort, South Carolina.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of like on the border of South Carolina and Georgia. So my background is more of like engineering design.
Okay.
So I was more into that, but I really did want to go the robotics route, but a lot of life situations happened, especially with my mom being sick and everything. So yeah.
Okay, so then South Carolina to Texas, how did that happen?
Oh, so to me, like San Antonio is my actual hometown, but South Carolina is more where I raised. So those are the only two like places I've ever known.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. And then, so you said you had kind of an engineering background?
Yeah.
What did that look like?
So I started out at a community college called the Technical College of the Low Country in South Carolina, in Beaufort, South Carolina. So all they had at the time was like HVAC or CAD. So I went the CAD route.
Oh, okay, and so like what type of stuff were you designing on CAD?
Oh, so basically it was broken down into three. So it's architectural, civil, and mechanical. It then got basic.
Gotcha. Okay. I have a little bit of CAD exposure because we have these these kiosks that we deploy to our customer events.
Yeah.
And so I jumped in the CAD software and learned how to use it to kind of design them. And that was like a lot of fun. But experiencing or learning new skills, building cool stuff, that's kind of the core of what you're building with Zeo Infinite Robotics, right?
Oh, yeah.
So can you kind of tell us a little bit about what your organization is and what it is that you guys are actually doing?
So basically my organization is to help kids. So, it might be. So I'm probably talking about the next question too, probably. So basically, how I started with that, with Zeo Infinite Robotics, actually go back to First Robotics.
Oh, okay.
But actually go back to one of my business mentors, Ruben, from the SBDC.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, because he was the one that was like, just try out certain organizations, volunteer. Not the time, I wasn't really thinking that, but after I got that job for first being a AmeriCorps Vista, it started to come around a little bit. I was like, I'm doing the thing that, Ruben told me I should do, And even there was another mentor too, and I think STORE, there was a mentor from STORE when I went down to the library, and he said the exact same thing. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so so describe in like a couple of sentences, what is Zeo Infinite Robotics? What is the mission?
So the mission is to grow out, basically just help the next future engineers, scientists, STEM leaders. So that's what I want to do.
But help them do what? So are you introducing people to robotics as a STEM program, or are you bringing the program to schools? Like, what is it? What is the outcome? If someone goes through the programs that you offer, what's the outcome of that?
So basically, it's just bringing it to schools, but ultimately, I just want them to have a first shot at, having a engineering job. Okay. Because, to me, I know how the engineering field kind of hard, and you got to have a bachelor's degree. And sometimes it's kind of hard when you have like an associate's degree or a certificate. So it's kind of hard. Yeah.
Okay, so you're introducing students. What kind of students? So are these like elementary school kids or high school, or are these college students? Like, where do you typically work?
So right now, as she asked me earlier, like what my goal is for right now. It's just right now I'm just doing middle school, high school, college. Because I think they're kind of easy to talk to.
And so what type of so you're creating these STEM programs that you're bringing to middle and high school students, right? What are you actually doing? Are these like robotics champion or challenges? Are these just learning the fundamentals of robotics? Like what are the actual programs?
So the one that I'm working on, the Tech Gladiator challenge, as I call it, or a T.
Tech Gladiator, that sounds fun.
Yeah, or TGC, as I call it.
Okay.
So basically, I'm kind of going the manufacturing route, like for them to learn the manufacturing side, because that, to me, like when it comes to like San Antonio, I feel like that doesn't get talked about as much as the other fields.
So this is like actually producing and building these robots.
Yeah.
Right? For what is the Gladiator Challenge for those that don't know?
So basically, it's just building robots, but also competing a little bit. Yeah, just
So it's like robot wars, essentially. Like if
Pretty
fighting
much.
battle challenges, that type of thing.
Pretty
Cool.
much.
Awesome. And so what you're teaching in these programs are these kind of how to design and build these defensible robots for these challenges?
Yeah.
Very
Because,
cool.
I mean, to me, I always think, like, whether it's battle bots or FIRST or vets, there's always an art and a strategy behind it.
Absolutely. And so what do the first few days of this program look like? So if I come in as a middle school student or a high school student, right, and I don't have exposure to this before, right? That's why your program is so critical. What is it that I can expect to learn immediately? And when do I actually get to start building these kick-ass robots?
Oh, man. I'm trying to go for the workshops, so people can like learn how to build it, like what goes into it, because there's a lot of math, science, and you gotta learn everything about it. So
And it's not just hardware either; it's software.
Yeah, software, yeah, because you just don't want to build it straight away. Then there's a mechanical error, a troubleshoot error, and I'd rather give kids a chance first, for like maybe the first few months, and then the last few months, competition season.
Yep, that's awesome. And so, like, where are you currently working with any school districts, or like, where do you currently have these programs?
Well, right now I don't have any school districts, but I'm trying to go for the north side and the northeast side since I'm closer to that area right now.
Okay.
And then eventually expand more into the other districts.
Right. Okay. Nice. And so you're kind of focused on the San Antonio area specifically?
Yeah.
Awesome. And so you're taking these programs into the schools and you're teaching them how to build these robots. Are they taking the robots they build and submitting those to a challenge, or are they fighting other teams in the area? Like, what does that actually look like?
Oh, man. So to me, I just think, I wouldn't say submit the robots because the robots are there, but, just challenging other teams.
Okay, awesome. And so they'll just be coordinated like battles between the different school districts or the different schools in the district, that sort of thing. Very cool. And so what are kind of some of the challenges of programs like this? I know like when you approach different school districts, they're all on different schedules. They all have these different requirements that you have to kind of hoops you jump through to get programs in. And then one of the big challenges or the big friction points also usually comes down to funding, right?
Right.
How do you pay for the supplies? Building robots can be somewhat inexpensive or incredibly expensive, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
how do you close those gaps, and how do you actually enter into a district?
To me, I just think the grants and who your suppliers are. I think that's a big thing, but also like there's like different resources that goes into it too.
So you can do some things to like reduce the cost for the materials and the supplies that you need to actually build it. But then you've got like these other hard costs, right? You've got the hard cost of the materials, but then also you've got costs like time and people to run the programs.
Yeah, I didn't travel and yeah.
Yep, definitely. And so you're funded mostly through grants right now?
Yeah.
And so when you bring a program to a school, what is the school's kind of part in that? But like logistically, right? So like I have this program. Are you providing curriculum and guidance? Are you providing the actual facilitation of these workshops and the building sessions? Like, what does the school provide? What do you provide?
So basically, I have kind of come up with a curriculum because that's what I've been working on for like the past half year.
Yeah.
So curriculum for like elementary, middle, high school, college too. So and then also the workshops. I think the workshops are going to be really, really helpful.
Nice. Okay, cool. Awesome. Now, kind of changing gears a little bit, why did you decide you wanted to do this? Like, of all the things you could do with your engineering background in the world, why did you decide you wanted to start a nonprofit one, which is already hard?
Yeah.
And then teach robotics to children through school districts? Like, why is this your mission?
Well, okay, so my passion is combat robotics, but what really sparked my passion was when I was a AmeriCorps Vista for first.
Okay.
And throughout the whole year, it started to hit me that, going into schools and helping kids, get the resources and.
Well, that's such a critical time too, as students are developing, to teach these skills, right? Because even if a student doesn't pursue robotics as a career, the things that you'll learn about slicing problems, about strategic thinking, about planning are applicable to any industry, right?
Right.
So you don't have to necessarily go into robotics in order to get value from this. And that stage, in Phoenix, we started the code clubs, and I was deeply involved with that. And we had every week the students would meet at one of the library branches, and they would learn to write code, right? To build stuff.
Right.
Software engineering is my background. And we had, 7-year-olds writing Objective-C in iOS apps, right? We had these children building these really amazing things. We had some working on some robotics stuff. And that's such a critical time to start building those skills, because even if they never go into anything technical in their career, they now have that ability to think about problems logically, to think in different ways, to accept feedback from different problems. So that's really cool. And I think that's a good time to introduce programs like this is in school.
Oh yeah, and I mean, about the code, I experienced that when I used to volunteer for iCode a while back.
Yep.
So I saw kids and they was creating their own video games, and I thought that was cool. And also the Lego sumo robotic.
Yep.
Actually, I like that too. It's something about that speaks about a Japanese culture thing that I sort of like. So.
Yeah,
I started kind of incorporating that too a little bit.
Nice. And okay, cool. So then you are an engineer by trade. You've started this nonprofit. What are some of the interesting things that you learned during this process that you didn't what are some of the surprise, lessons that you've learned while you were starting Zeo Infinite Robotics?
Man, that definitely the business side of stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because the business side, I'm just learning so much right now. It's I'm starting out, and I was like, oh man, I didn't know this. And then it has me thinking, and most of the time, and I like that. It challenges me a lot.
Absolutely.
So I might be thinking about the whole day and just be like, okay, I'm going to attack this, and then if there's another question, I'm like, okay, I don't know how to answer this one, but I want to figure out the best way to answer it.
Absolutely. And that brings up such an important point, right? Everybody that starts a nonprofit are almost always focused on the vision, on the mission, which is so important, right? What change are we creating in the community? What impact are we creating? So important. But what a lot of people often don't realize is that you kind of need that business side as well to keep the organization compliant, to keep it growing, to keep it moving forward, right? And those two really go hand in hand. So that's it's no surprise that was one of the kind of lessons that everybody who starts a nonprofit organization kind of learns and goes through. So what's what's happening now with Zeo right now? Where are you now, and what is it that you're kind of looking for?
So right now, I'm looking for people that want to be on the board of directors and.
So you're recruiting board members?
Yeah. So I just want people that challenges me to be a better founder, better leader. Mm-hmm. Because I might not know everything, but I want to know, as much as I can. So if anybody has knowledge that I don't know about, I welcome it.
So you're recruiting board members right now to help kind of govern and guide the organization. What are you looking for in a board member? So like if there's somebody who thinks, maybe they have the right background, whether it's on the business side or in robotics on the hard technical side, that might be interested in helping out, what are you kind of looking for in an ideal board member?
Well, for me, I just think people that's knowledgeable in certain areas that I'm weakest in, because I'm not going to lie to anybody. I'm pretty weak in finances. I know how to save money, but as far as knowing what to
So you need a treasurer for sure.
Yeah, treasurer for sure. Yeah.
Nice. And that actually brings up an interesting point too. Like a lot of people, when they start something, whether it's a for-profit company or a nonprofit organization, a lot of people think they have to know everything, and they're responsible to know how every single part of the organization works. And I really like that you're 100%. You're genuine. You're like, I don't know everything, but I need to surround myself with people who complement my weaknesses, right? Who can help move the organization forward and can help guide me as a founder, as a change maker. That's pretty cool. And so you're building kind of your organization now. You're building your board of directors. You're building your curriculum. What's kind of next? What is happening once you get everything established? What's your first here we are. We're here in the world now. This is what we do.
I really want to start the season launch next school year. That way, when competition season comes around, it's January to April. So the first few months, it's probably gonna be workshops and how to build robots and kits and all that stuff. And just getting grants, and resources together for school. So
yep, definitely.
Yeah.
And so does your program complement any existing programs? So I know the Comal School District, they have a competition robotics program already. So can your program kind of complement that and add additional value around that? Or are you looking for schools that don't have anything and your program kind of first introduces that?
I'm kind of thinking the second one where, if they don't have much, I go back to I call it my second hometown in Beaufort, South Carolina. Mm-hmm. I kind of learned that first didn't expand in my area, so I was like, oh, that's why there wasn't no robotics program when I was growing up. So I mean now I can probably introduce something like that, and shout out to my sister, but my sister always telling me hey. You should go to, the Beaufort County School Districts and introduce some of that to the kids. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and I know here in San Antonio specifically, schools on the south side could actually really use this type of thing, right? Because funding is tight, it's really hard. You don't have access necessarily to a lot of these high tech or hard tech programs. I think a program like this could be pretty cool if it teaches the concepts of robotics, the foundations of design, of planning, and then you get to, battle robots, fight robots. That's even cooler.
That is cool, yeah.
That works, yeah. That's pretty cool. So then as you're kind of going through and planning this and establishing your team, right? What are some of the things that are most important to your organization right now? So you mentioned you're recruiting a board of directors, right? But you also mentioned things like you're building your curriculum, right? You're looking for connections at different schools to introduce these programs, right? So what are the maybe top 3 most important things for you right now?
Definitely sponsors for sure. I didn't get in a certain number of teams, because I don't want to start big and have 500 teams and not know how to manage all 500 teams or school districts having struggles with that. For me, I'd rather start off with 100 and just go from there.
Okay, so right now the most important things are kind of introductions to those school districts,
yep,
and sponsors or people to help kind of fund the different programs and fund all the things you need, right?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. What is one important thing? We kind of talked a little bit about why robotics is important and how it's applicable to other career paths as well. But what would you say is the most important aspect of designing these robots, building them, and whether that be teamwork, whether that be the hard skills of learning CAD? Like, what is the most important thing there?
Definitely teamwork, because teamwork makes the dream work.
As cliche as that saying is, absolutely. Teamwork is the most important thing that you can do in anything, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so how does this program teach teamwork? And how does it teach students to kind of embody that in what they do moving forward?
Well, to me, I just think it just goes back to problem solving, because, like, one kid might know something, but another kid might have a different approach to how they want to build or design a robot. And it and it also goes to strategy. Like say, like, if it's in an educational setting, like, a robot might have one way of doing stuff, but, you know, another robot might have another way of doing stuff.
Right.
And it's kind of like life too. Like, you know, we both might want the same thing, but we might have two different approaches.
Exactly.
But it's still going to go back to the same thing there.
Exactly. And, you know, that's why we work in teams too, right?
Yeah.
We all have a different background, different experience, different opinion. And as long as we stay biased toward action, we put all that together and find the best path forward for us at the time, the most ideal at the time. It may not be the perfect path, but it's the path that moves us forward based on the information that we have now. And I think that's why teamwork's super important. In the case of, like, my company, right, I have a very, very high risk tolerance. So if I want to do something, I'm like, let's do it. If we break something important, we can fix it later. Like, let's move fast and break shit, right?
Right.
A lot of our other team is a little more tame in that area, so it balances well, right? We might have a conversation, and after like a 5-minute conversation, I'm like, let's pull this trigger and completely change our business model. Let's do it, right? And the rest of the team's like, well, maybe we should do a little bit of validation of that. Maybe we should ask our customers what they want, you know, these things like that. And so teamwork really helps you slice things properly and progress towards that common goal and the best path forward, right? Would you agree with that?
Oh, I agree with that. I'm kind of like you. Like, I don't know, I would do something, and then I would ask other people, like, hey, what do you think about this? And then I'll slow it down a little bit.
Definitely. And and so teamwork being the most important thing. So what comes after teamwork? So what is the next most important skill that robotics teaches students?
Well, I know robotics has many disciplines, like electrical, electronics, mechatronics, CAD. I'm probably missing a few, but mechanical.
For sure.
So, like, for me, you know, CAD is very important because, you know, I actually got a degree in that back in South Carolina, and there's a lot of math involved. Like, like when it comes to, like, building a house or building, like, this table right here or you know, stuff like that.
The first design that I did for our kiosk, our event kiosks, one of the parts that attached was about 3 millimeters off. And I was just learning to design CAD, right? It wasn't my background. Right. It's not what I did, right? And I was learning this. But we got all of the parts the manufacturer created, and we went to assemble, and it was about 3 millimeters off, which was just enough gap that it didn't attach, right?
Right.
And so, like, lots of math, lots of forethought and planning that goes into that. And so I think those are probably really good skills. But we got teamwork, we've got these technical skills, and all of this helps create this well-rounded education, right? Because I think what your programs do is they complement or they add to the education that we currently have, all these math and writing and all these other skills and traditional learning, right? But they add real hard technical skill sets and the way you think about things. It allows you to students to think about things differently and learn how to approach things in different ways, which I think rounds out the education, right?
Oh, yeah. And also, too, like, what I learned about BattleBots, too, is, like, when it comes down to, like, I used to watch videos of how people name their robots, and I'm like, oh, there's some history behind it. Because there could be a history like that, like, when they talk about, oh, okay, there's a Gladiator robot, or the name Gladiator somewhere in there. And I'm like, oh, okay, that goes back to, like, you know, the Roman times or whatever. So I'm like, oh, there's history around that.
So your combative robotics is kind of your hobby, like is your passion, right?
Yeah, it's my passion.
And so what's the coolest robot that you've ever built, and what did you name that robot?
Well, right now, I'm currently going to build, like, a robot I'm still trying to figure out the name.
Okay.
But I know it's going to be something Japanese-like because I'm something about Japanese culture I kind of liked.
Yeah.
So yeah.
There's a lot that we can learn from Japanese culture, and I think a lot that applies directly to robotics and to battle competitions, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, awesome. And so then, in terms of like what you need for your organization, you talked about board of directors. Do you need anything in terms of like volunteers, in terms of actually executing these programs in the schools?
Yep. Yeah. Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah.
We're at those like early stage kind of building blocks of your organization, which is such a fun time, but also such like so many different things happening at once to kind of coordinate and really, you know, execute well. And so like you need pretty much everything right now.
Pretty much. And also I want to add too, like the thing I was thinking about with elementary school like kids. I'm thinking of I don't know if people know this in the anime world, but the Gunpla building or Gundam building.
What is it?
Well, they call it Gunpla, but I know it as Gundam. So
Okay, but what is it?
So basically, it's just like model building. It's like building a toy robot, but like there's a lot of stuff that goes into it. Like you gotta make sure the pieces fit and like spraying it, coating it. Cause I've seen a lot of videos about that too, and I was like, man, the whole Gundam building changed a lot. Where it not just snap on. It's like you gotta have a hobby knife, and you gotta have this kind of coating, a paint or whatever, and you gotta make sure that the head is straight and the body's straight. And then you gotta model it like in a certain way, like this or whatever. And I was like, okay, that seems cool.
So those younger grades, it's more about kind of getting your feet wet, being introduced. You're not necessarily in, third grade building a robot that's going to compete in a battle.
Nah.
You're kind of learning, with this model building and like learning the concepts of that. So in your upper grades, like your high school grades, that's when you're probably actually building to compete, that sort of thing.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because the Gunpla building, actually I learned that from like the Bandai because I followed them and I watched just about every Gundam series you could think of, and I was like, oh, okay, so
you're kind of a robotics nerd at heart.
Yeah.
This is where you are.
That's why I look up at home.
Amazing.
So I'm like, oh, okay.
That's awesome. Pretty cool. And then, so what? Where can the community learn more about what you're doing and how they can get involved with your organization?
Oh man, so I have a LinkedIn account, Zeo Infinite Robotics, or you can get in touch with me, Thomas James, and same thing with Instagram, Zeo Infinite Robotics, and also I have a Facebook page, Zeo Infinite Robotics, and then I have a Facebook group with the same thing, and then I'm kind of like on every social media.
Okay, awesome. And we'll include those links in the show notes so the audience can kind of click through and reach out to you and offer your support. Is there anything else additionally that you'd like to add kind of to the episode about your organization? What's like?
I don't have much else, but yeah, you can join my organization. I welcome it. I help you the best way I can. That sort of thing.
Amazing, awesome. And we probably got some introductions that we can make to different school districts that I'm involved in and that the rest of our crew is kind of involved in to help with that as well. So thank you so much for coming on the show. This was a great conversation. I'm really excited to follow Zeo Infinite Robotics and see the kind of impact that you create in the community.
All right, thank you, man.